Good morning, children. Today we will study about the chapter growing plants. You can see plants all around in the playground, in the garden, in your house, in the roadsides. We have learned that plants and plant products meet our everyday needs. It is for this reason that we grow more and more plants. Why? Because plants are called as the producers. They are the living things which can prepare their own food. That's why they are called as the producers. Like all other living things, plants also produce more of their own kind by the process of the reproduction. Reproduction means producing more of their own kind. You have learned that reproduction helps in the continuity of a kind. So, these are the methods in which the plants reproduce by seeds, by spores, by body parts. Body parts means through the leaves, stem, or by the root. First is the reproduction by the seeds. A flower of a plant makes the seeds. Flowers grow into fruits that contain the seeds. Indeed, the flower is the most beautiful part of the plant. You have seen which is the most beautiful part of the plant? That is the flower. And its most important function is to make the seeds. So, the important function of the flower is to make the seeds. Some flowers are colored and some have a pleasant smell. This enables the insects to get attracted to the flowers. In this lesson, we will learn how the insects help the flowers to become the fruits. Okay, how they are helping to become the fruits. For before that, we will study the parts of the flower. Here, the structure of a flower is given. This is a hibiscus flower, which is also called as gudhal in Hindi. Okay, see the parts. After that, we will do the reading part. First, you understand the parts of the flower. This is the stalk of the flower which is attached to the stem. Okay, and this stalk, what it is called? It is called as the pedicel. Okay, and this green colored part is called as the sepals. They are like leaves, and they are protecting the flower when it is in the form of the bud. Then the red color part is called as the petals, through by which the insects are attracted towards the flowers. After the petals come the male part of the flower, that is swollen part is called as the anther, and the long tube it is called as a filament. And these two together are called as the stamen. Okay, so the male part of the flower is called as the stamen. Then comes the female part. The top sticky part is called as the stigma, and then there is a long tube which is called as a style, and then comes the ovary, the swollen part, and inside this ovary the ovules are present. Okay, so the small seed like structures, they are called as the ovules. So these three parts, they together form the female part of the flower, which is called as the carpel or the pistil. Clear? So this is the structure of the flower. Now we'll see. And any flower which is having all these four whorls, that is four parts. Whorls are also known as the parts. The four whorls means that is sepals, petals, female part and the male part. If all these four parts are present in any flower, that type of flowers, they are called as the complete flower. And if any part is missing, then that type of flowers are called as the incomplete flower. Hibiscus and rose lily are complete flowers. Sepals. Sepals are green leaf-like structures found at the base of the flower, and they protect a flower when it is a bud. As the bud opens up, the sepal curls back and forms a cup. Then comes petals. Petals are the brightly colored part of the flower and are sometimes sweet smelling. The main function is to attract the insects. Now after the petals comes a stamen. As I already discussed, stamen is the male part of the flower. It consists of a long filament. This is the long filament which is called, this is a long filament. Okay, and a swollen head on the top. This is a swollen head which is called as the anther. And inside this anther are present the pollen grains. A yellow powder called pollen grains is present in the anther. Then carpel or pistil. Carpel is the female part of the flower and it lies in the center of the flower. It has a sticky top called stigma and a long tube called style and the ovary at the bottom. And this ovary, inside the ovary are the ovules present. A flower in which any of the parts or whorls is missing is called an incomplete flower. Examples are cucumber and date plants which are having incomplete flowers. Cucumber is kheera and date plants are khajur. Okay. So now we will see how the flower is turning into a fruit. You must have seen insects visiting flowers to collect the sweet juice present in them, which is called as a nectar. When an insect sits on a flower, some of the pollen grains they stick to it. The insect carries the pollen grains to the stigma of another flower of the same kind, and this process of transferring the pollen grains from the stamen to the stigma is called pollination. So how the pollen grains are shifting? When an insect sits on the stigma of any flower, see this picture, you can see here, an insect is sitting here and it is sucking the nectar. Okay, so during that process what happens, the pollen grains they are sticking to their wings. So when this insect it goes and sits on the another flower, these pollen grains they are falling on the stigma of the other flower. So this process of transferring the pollen grains from the stamen to the stigma is called pollination. Okay, here the process of fertilization is given. This you will be studying in your higher classes. Okay, just you go through it. Okay, the pollen grains grow a tube that moves from the stigma through the style to reach the ovary. The pollen grains, a tube is growing from them and that moves from the stigma through the style. Here, this is a stigma, style. Okay, so when the pollen grains are falling here, that pollen grains tube will grow and it will go inside. Okay, inside this, and it will fuse with the ovules. Okay, and the pollen grains fuse with the ovules to form the seeds, and this process of pollen grains fusing with the ovules is called as the fertilization. So the next topic is the structure of the seed. Now how the ovules are growing into seeds and what is from the seed, how the plant is growing, that we will see here in this topic. Next topic, new plants can grow from the seeds. Given below is the structure of a seed, that is seed coat. It is the outer covering of the seed that protects the baby plant inside the seed. The seed coat has a tiny hole through which a seed gets air and water. Now see the next topic, dispersal. Dispersal means the scattering of the seeds over a large area away from the parent plant. That is called as a dispersal. Seeds require enough space, air, water and warmth to germinate. For seeds to get enough of these, it is essential that they get carried away from the parent plant. Dispersal is the scattering of the seeds over a large area. If all the seeds were to fall and germinate below the parent plant, there would be overcrowding. Okay, why this process of dispersal is essential? Very essential, because if the seeds are falling in the same place where the parent plant is there, what will happen? Enough air and warmth and space will not be there, and the new plants which are coming out will not be growing properly. There will be overcrowding. Okay, so that's why this process of dispersal is very essential. Then what are the different ways of the dispersal? The dispersal can be through wind, water, explosion and through the animals. Okay, so first we will see how the seeds are being dispersed through the wind. Seeds that are dispersed by wind are small and light. So the seeds to be dispersed by wind, it should be small and light. The seeds of cotton and dandelion have tufts of hair, while the seeds of maple are winged. This makes it easy for them to be carried away by the wind. Either they should be having tufts of hair so that the seed becomes light, or they must be having some wings. Here they have shown in the picture the seeds of maple. See, this seed is in between and it is having wings. Okay, this through that it can fly from one place to the another. Okay. Okay, so they can be carried away easily by the wind. Then comes water. Plants that grow in or near the water disperse their seeds and fruits by the water. Seeds of plants like lotus and coconut have a spongy or fibrous covering that helps them to float on water. So coconut is floating on the water. Coconut trees, they are growing near the riverside, so they can easily disperse through the water. Now the next way of dispersal is expulsion. Some seeds grow in pods. Pods means a type of covering. You have seen in the muttar seeds also and beans. They are having a covering inside that seeds are present. Okay, so that covering is called as a pods. When the pod is ripe, it dries up and then explodes forcefully. When the outer covering is completely dried, then what happens? It will explode. The seed will explode from inside and they will be thrown in different direction. The seeds of peas, beans and balsam are dispersed in this way. Then animals. Some seeds like cocklebur have spines or hooks. Spines means kanta. Okay. These seeds, they stick to the body of animals and get carried away to far off places. So when the birds and animals, they eat fruits, the undigested seeds pass through their digestive system along with the waste. Okay, either the seeds are sticking to the bodies of the animals and through that they are carried away to different place, or when the birds, they are eating these fruits or animals, what happens? The seeds, they do not get digested, so they will be moving out of their digestive system along with their waste. So in that way also the seeds are getting dispersed. Next topic we will do in the part 2 of this chapter. Thank you, children.